What's good? It's Fever. Taking a look at the games we'll be seeing this year in 2018 has got me a bit excited enough even to point out the games I'm personally amped about. I'm not going to go so far as to split it based on the system, the console, or the genre that they are releasing under. This is just a blanket 10 games I'm most looking forward to this year. Not necessarily the 10 games I think will be best. Some are just interesting, some are franchises I love, and some are just games I can't wait to see how they turn out. Enough rambling. Let's start this off at number 10, Extinction. Now this game at first glance will and should give you an Attack on Titan's vibe in a colorful, stylized, but not Asian stylized world setting. Upon seeing some of the clips of the combat, it looks like there is the essence of roaming around this city fighting or defending against this giant titan or this giant ogre who may or may not be wearing armor that may or may not change the way you have to fight him or what you can do to him. I remember playing this dumb Attack on Titan browser game for way too many hours, and this is my shameful anime-inspired fantasy come to life, and good or bad, this one has been on my radar pretty hard for a while, even with very little information about it having been released. Just this giant monster that we take on, Shadow of the Colossus style, Attack on Titan style, Monster Hunter style, I absolutely am enamored with. Number 9 is Re-Legend. Now, I'm a sucker for Harvest Moon style farming simulators. I don't like the hardcore farming stuff, but this fluffy, fun stuff, especially if they add a bit more grit or RPG or combat to it, like, say, Stardew Valley or Rune Factory, just enough to complement the rest of the game without overpowering it. You know, I want the watering of my turnips and the milking of my cows to really drive home that gameplay. I don't know why, but I just get obsessed with these games, and pretty much every year there's one game like this that takes me over for almost an entire month. And Re-Legend looks like it will be that in 2018 with a monster-raising twist. This RPG is based around all of that farming fluff with multiplayer, important, and will be available on the Nintendo Switch, also important. It has a projected release date of June, but I have a backup in case this crowd-funded game gets delayed. Ooblets, this is another Harvest Moon, but with X-style game. This one, they're crossing it a little bit with Animal Crossing, they say, and, you know, this one just oozes charm and charisma, has a unique aesthetic, and has a core team of about 2 people who, the more you follow and listen and read to what they just put out there on the internet, the more you want to support them. I think both these games will do incredibly well when they do get released. Number 8, The Wolf Among Us Season 2. Now, I held out stubbornly for a long time against these basically interactive graphic novel style games that now exist throughout many different IPs, and I just thought they weren't real games, and I still don't think they are. They are a great way to intake a story, they are great ways to entertain yourself, and being more restricted in one way through gameplay gives them more freedom in other ways, and very few games, though, can make you care about the choices or the outcomes of things that you can do in these styled games the way that they do it. And at this point, if you held out stubbornly, as I did, the 2 titles I would tell you to try would be The Wolf Among Us and the Telltale Walking Dead game, which both have sequels this year, both worth your attention, and both just really worth getting excited about this year. Number 7 is Metro Exodus. Now, this is a franchise that I love. The 2 prior Metro games are generally well received, but I still think that they are incredibly underrated. The Metro games blend some rather good shooting and combat mechanics together with this survival horror, suspense, atmosphere type thing, and some really cool map design. And I don't really like FPS games normally, but I love Metro. I think the incredible focus on the setting and the atmosphere really do it for me, and the trailers that we saw at E3 just brought back all of these memories from the last time I played this game. I think the last Metro was released in 2013, so like 5 years ago, and I can't wait to see what they do with this franchise in current year after having played a bunch of other single-player focused FPS games last year that really impressed me. Moving into number 6 is Tunic. Now, you may remember in a past video, after having done some of the conventions, there were 3 indie-style games that I was looking forward to: Darksiders, Hob, and Tunic. Now, so far, 2 have come out, 2 were great, and I'm looking at Tunic to round that out for the 3 out of 3. This is a game that seems heavily inspired by the adventure and the mystery of the old 2D Zelda games, and there's some definite inspiration and liberties taken in the gameplay that is just obviously apparent if you look at this and you look at the old games. I got some hands-on time with the game, I've seen it at conventions, lovingly repeated by Dicey. Tunic is about a tiny fox in a big world, and that sense of mystery is really what the game is trying to nail, and I can't wait to see if they do. Number 5, Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom. Now, this is a level 5 developed JRPG. I actually really enjoy almost all of the JRPGs that have come from level 5, and I know I tend to dock points for anime aesthetics, and I know Space Gecko already thinks I'm a closet weeb already, but I think rational minds can agree that Studio Ghibli is separate. It's like their version of Disney, and the first Ni no Kuni had actually partnered up with Studio Ghibli and delivered one of the most charming and unique JRPGs I had ever played. It oozed this whimsy and innocence that was so refreshing. Other games have you hunting that dragon that plans on burning the world and they killed your parents, where in the first Ni no Kuni, a major quest was cheering up the king, who happened to be this giant fat cat, with bottled up enthusiasm that you had in your pendant that you borrowed from an over-eager guard. The whole game just felt like you're in this G-rated fairy tale in the best way. Ni no Kuni 2 has some big, unique shoes to fill, but a JRPG that doesn't feel like a reskin of every other one before it is always welcome to me.
I knew he'd take a shine to you. You've got that same twinkle in your eye.
Number 4, Red Dead Redemption 2. I love westerns. Western-themed things, however, are really hard to do well without them coming off as either cheesy or feeling like a novelty. Red Dead Redemption 1 walked that line and they nailed it, but that was back when I wasn't all open world gameplayed out, so I'm really curious to see how Red Dead Redemption 2 hits me now. Rockstar as a company tends to deliver, so I'm not worried that the game will be bad. I just hope it lives up to the hype in my head that no game really ever can. Rockstar, just follow in Westworld's footsteps and help to make westerns cool again. Number 3, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. If you haven't played the first Ori, I don't think we can be friends. If you played and you didn't love the first Ori, I know we can't be friends. Ori as a game nails presentation, sound and music, visuals and animations, and even just the trailer for this second Ori coming out this year, hopefully, just gives me chills. The gameplay was top-notch, simple, but with tons of freedom, with these levels that allowed for complex movement and decision-making, and this combination is rare when it's done this well. It lets the newer players, the less experienced gamers, enjoy themselves, and then it becomes a platform for more veteran-style players, for the speedrunning community that latched onto the first Ori, and it just feels good and rewarding to play the game well. Even if Ori and the Will of the Wisps is half as good as the first, it will be a phenomenal game, and I want to see if and what they add on to the game to make it a little bit better. In 2015, this was actually one of my favorite games of the year. Number 2, The Last of Us Part 2. You may notice from the lack of it on this list, as there are some other high-profile games coming out with a particular or a comparable theme as this game that I have not added here, that I am not super fond of zombie games. The Last of Us, though, is more than just a zombie game. It is an impressive display of storytelling using the tools that being a game allows, using its theme, its zombie theme wonderfully to create moments, to create tension, and drive the story without being the story, which is why I tend to not always love zombie themes in games, because they tend to overpower the rest of the game. But this one does it spectacularly. I just need this game, and I think anybody who has played this game is thinking the same as me. Give me more of this game now, please.
But I can't walk on the path of the right because I'm wrong.
And number 1, Monster Hunter World. I've said it before, the Monster Hunter genre is probably my favorite. This, obviously, Monster Hunter World is the Monster Hunter genre flagship. It's also a breakout moment for the franchise, coming back to the main consoles and PC in an accessible way, and has the graphics and hype behind it to expand its audience and reach and get people to give it another shot. The 2 demo weekends that we've had so far weren't enough, and that switch axe stab/mount move, oh my god. This game, I already know, will consume me. I envision 1,000 hours easy that I don't have devoted to this game while ignoring my responsibilities, made even sweeter by the fact that it comes out this month. 2018 is looking great. Now at the end here, I want to point out that I purposely left off games that are in that weird window of in early access or in open beta with an undisclosed release date that may or may not happen in 2018, or a game that is soft releasing into an open beta in 2018. I don't even really know what to do with those things. Release dates are becoming entirely too fluid for me. Anyways, that's my list. If you have any interesting games that you're looking forward to, let me know. A lot of really cool RPGs seem to be coming out this year that unfortunately there wasn't enough room here to talk about. But until next time, this is Fever. Post.